Guys, and welcome to SmartPrep. Today we are continuing with our NBT preparation. Today we are doing maths, so let's get to it. So our first question says, if you notice, if this is your first time here and you see we're starting at question 6, we've got a full playlist with all these NBT questions. So I'll put a link to the playlist in the description, and you can start with the first video. But if you are joining us again, we are continuing with number 6. Okay, so our first question says, solve for x if 199 plus 195 plus 191 plus ... That means it continues to sort of 189, 187, all the way down to 3. And then on this side, we have x plus 1 plus 5 plus ... continuing all the way to 197. Okay, so what have we got? We've got odd numbers. All right, we've got odd numbers, and we want to find out the value of x. Okay, so how are we going to do this? Well, what we can do is we can match these up. So I'm actually going to keep it in red. So if we say 197, if we bring that down around to this side, okay, 199 minus 197 is 2. That's a little hint on what we're going to do. Try and do it yourselves. If you can, take out your pens and papers and try this yourself and see if you can do it. All right, so what we notice is that when we take these across, we always get 2. Okay, so x is going to be 2 plus 2 plus how many times? Okay, so we're going all the way from 199 down to 3. So what we have is we want to know how many values of 2 are we going to get? Well, we're going to get 50. Okay, we're going to have 50. Because what you notice is that what is the difference between these two numbers? This is 4. Okay. 195 minus 191 is also 4. Okay, so the difference is 4. So what we have is all the odd numbers from 3 to 199. Now, how many is that going to be? Well, if it was, say, 200, let's say, because that's an even number, and that's divisible by 4, then it would go to 4, right? So that gives us, we can actually say 200 divided by 4, and that's going to give us our 50. Okay, because if we count from 4 in 4s all the way to 200, we're going to do it 50 times. Okay, because let's say that it was from 1 to 50, right? And it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Well, if we were to count to 50, there'd be 50 numbers. But here we're counting in 4s, okay? So we get, if we count in 4s, when we get to 4, 8, 12, etc., we're going to get to 200 if we do 50 numbers, okay? Because that's how we get 50. All right, so we do 50, but now it's going to be 2 times 50, because the difference for each is 2. Okay, so 50 times 2. Okay, I took a little bit of time on that question. For those of you who sort of wondering, well, what am I going to do if this comes up? I couldn't do this myself. Or maybe if you find it easy, you can just skip to number 7 or try number 7 on your own. So I'm going to just explain to the people who found this tricky For those who don't find it tricky, rather do number 7 while on your own and see if you can do that. For those of you who didn't understand, basically, we have an arithmetic sequence, okay? So you have an arithmetic sequence where your difference is 4 and your A is equal to 199, okay? And your difference is 4. Okay, and what you could do is, the long way of doing this would be to use your sum of an arithmetic sequence, and you would be able to solve for your n and get 50. I'm not going to go into that now, though, but what I will say is that if I show you, let me just show you something else quickly, just to give you an idea of what I mean when I say, just if you do these past questions, even some of the ones you may not understand, what I want you to do is just have a look at this here. All right, so I've got some comments on the last video here, and it says, you've got, thank you so much. I wrote my NBTs today, and literally most of the stuff you covered came out exactly as is. Okay, and one of the other people agreed and said, yep, came out almost exactly. And check out the AQL videos. So those are quantitative literacy videos. And then we also have, so this person said 30% of the questions came out. Here, someone said most of the questions you covered appeared in the test. Okay, so don't stress if some of these questions you don't understand. Rather just look at them, get the answers. And so what we've done is we have done a playlist, and we've also, I'll put a link in on SmartPrep. We've done all the past questions into one document. So you can go on there and you can grab all the past questions and you can look at those, and we've got the answers as well. So yeah, these are a little bit trickier than the ones I did in my video about a week ago. But yeah, they're not all going to be extremely difficult. It's going to be a range. But if you want to do really well, then I would definitely try and do all of these, and you'll find that most of them should come up exactly as is. Okay? That other person who said 30%, they probably didn't do all the questions, because some of our questions are members only. Okay, so how did you guys do if you went ahead and tried to do this one? Well, we could take the 8x to the other side, okay, and make it this greater than 0, okay, and then we could take 4x out, and we get x minus 2, and these give us our critical values, what we call our critical values. So critical values. So if you look at 4x squared, this is a parabola, okay, and you're going to have roots of a parabola, which will be over here and over here. In other words, the roots, when you hear roots, that means our x-intercepts. Now our x-intercepts, if I look at my critical values, I make this equal to 0, and I get 4x equals 0, which means x equals 0, and I get x minus 2 equals 0, so x equals 2. And so our critical values are 0 and 2. All right, and what we know is that this is less than 0, so it's between. So you see that it's less than 0 over here, where it's below the axis. Okay, so it's between 0 and 2, so it's going to be this one here, okay. C. All right, solve the inequality, 3 minus x squared, minus 4 to the x. Okay, so once again, take out your papers, pause the video if you want, and pen and papers, and see if you can do this yourself, okay? Because Some of them may look easier when you see me do them, but try and do them yourself. Okay, when you see a question like this, where something is less than 0, think, okay, if it's less than 0, it's negative. Okay, well, here we have a square, okay? So if something is a square, well, -1 squared is always going to be positive, because negative times negative gives you positive. So any negative value is going to be negative, okay? And any positive value that you put will also be positive. So any negative value will come out as positive, any positive value will come. So basically what I'm saying is this is always positive. Okay, now in order to get a negative then, this value here has to be negative because a positive times a negative must come to a negative. So this has to be negative. Okay, which means that this value has to be positive because negative, if this bottom value is a negative, it'll be negative, negative, which will become positive. So x has to be positive. So x must be greater than 0. Okay. This one should be a little bit easier. I think, speaking to the guys, that question 6 that we started with seems to be one of the trickier questions. Although once you know how to do it, it's a bit easier, I think. So here what we want to do is we want to look at now we don't have a calculator, so we have to break this up into factors that you could maybe square root. But what I mean by that is if I turn 12 into 3 times 4 and I turn 27 into 3 times 9 and I turn 24 into 3 times 8. What I notice is I have root 3s everywhere. Okay, and so what I can do is I can take out the root 3 as a factor. Okay. And so I get root 3. And when I take it out of the top, I get the 3 times, and the square root of 4 is 2, minus, okay, and then the square root of 9 is 3. And then here we've got the 8, 4. Okay, now 8, sorry, 8, when I say 8, 4, I mean 2 times 4. Okay. So the root 2 has to stay, but the square root of 4 is 2. Okay. And then what I can do is I can cancel, and I get 6 minus 3, which is 3. Okay, so I'm looking for 3. And then 2 root 2, which is this one. So I'm looking at A. Okay, do we have time for one more? Yes, we do. Okay, guys, when I did the last video, I said that when we get to 10 comments or 100 likes, I'll post a new one. Thank you very much for everyone who commented. We've got 13 comments, as promised. Here we are. This time, I'm going to make it a little bit trickier. I'm going to keep it at 100 likes, but looking for 20 comments. So if we get to 20 comments or 100 likes, whichever comes first, I will upload free content. For those of you who are writing tomorrow or very soon and you can't wait, as I said, go to the description in the video and there's a link to the past papers. I will do a promo code in there as well. Yeah, just look in the description and I'll put all the details there. Okay, or yeah, I'll just pin a comment. Probably do both. Okay, so when we look at the roots of this equation, we're going to, I think the safest thing to do here will be to just use our quadratic formula. Okay, negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Okay. So negative b will be, okay, so for those of you doing maths lit, for those of you who know what's going on, just try this yourself. And yeah, like, subscribe before you leave. For those of you who are not familiar with what I'm talking about here, just stick around and I'll just explain. This is a formula here, which allows you to solve when you have this trinomial. What I mean by trinomials is something x squared plus something x plus a number by itself. Okay, now your A here, so I'm going to actually do this in different colors. So your A, you see in this here, you have an A here and an A here. So your A is the number in front of your x squared, which is this 1. Okay, so I'm going to put an A, as everywhere I see an A, I'll put a 1. Okay, and then with B, the B is the number in front of the X. Okay, so that's going to be 4. Okay, so I'm going to start that now. So negative 4 gives you 4, because it's minus a minus. And then it'll be 4 squared over here. And then plus or minus, we'll do that. Minus, and then we'll put a 2. Now the C is the number by itself. So the C is the number by itself. So I'll put that in there. So that was our C, which is 1. And then our A, sorry, the red looks a lot like the orange, but anyway. We've got a 1 here. And a 1 here. And then our 4, right, which is, that's 4 every time, so it'll be like that. We'll see. Okay, so now that I've done that, I'm just going to save time, I'm not going to keep doing the colors now. I'm going to say, okay, so that's 4 plus or minus the square root of, now 4 squared is 16, minus 4, that's 12. Okay. So it'll be 16 minus 12. No, sorry, not 6. I'm putting the answer. 16 minus 4 is 12. Okay. Okay, so from above, we remember 12 is 2 root 3. So let's make it 2 root 3. Okay, now when I divide by 2, what I can do is, if I take out 2 as a common factor here, I'll get 2, and then it'll be 2 plus or minus root 3. And then if I divide both sides by 2, I get 2 plus or minus root 3. Okay, so my 2 roots will be then 2 plus root 3 and 2 minus root 3. Times that out, right? So 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times minus root 3 is minus 2 root 3. 2 times root 3 is plus 2 root 3. We notice those two cancel. And then negative root 3 times root 3 is negative 3. Okay, so these go away. 4 minus 3 gives you 1. Okay, so that answer is A. All right, so that's it. I'm going to pop up 11 so that if you want to have a look at what's coming up, here we go. Try that question 11. As I said, if you can like and subscribe to this video and comment, it gives you the best chance to get all these, well, for us to upload some free content and keep you on track to ace those NBTs. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers, guys.